I'll pull this up. We'll just go around and Sam, what you got going on?
Like we discussed yesterday, I'm sending out those Gigas larvae OA samples for bisulfite sequencing. So I'll send those out today to the University of Oregon, and then
So that's one lane, 100 base pair, single in, or?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
And then I'm going to tackle Claire's heat shock samples and evaluate whether or not we have enough sample to do MBD-seq, and if we do, decide whether or not we want to do it ourselves or potentially look into the whole process being done by an outside service like Epigentech or something like that. So.
Okay, so you should know today whether they're a go or no go.
Yeah, I'm going to quant them using dye-based fluorescence method, and then I'll have quantified them using nanodrop bioanalyzer and this dye-based method. So hopefully we'll have an accurate quantification. I think the dye-based method will be the best because the nanodrop doesn't distinguish between any RNA carryover or anything like that. So the numbers are generally a little bit inflated.
Mm-hmm.
The bioanalyzer, we used DNA 1000 chip, which only measures DNA between the sizes 0 and 1000 bases. So if there's any DNA larger than that, the bioanalyzer isn't picking it up. So using the fluorescence-based assay should give us the most accurate estimation of how much DNA is actually in these samples, and then give us an idea of what we want to do.
Are these MBD'd already?
No.
Or no? These are just
They've been sheared.
They've been sheared.
Yes,
Okay,
they've
that's
been
not
sheared.
Okay.
Yeah. So bioanalyzer gives us an idea potentially of the overall size range that they've been sheared to, but it doesn't show us whether or not the DNA has been fully sheared. We would just be making the assumption that there's no, high molecular weight stuff that.
Okay.
So do that, and that's what I learned.
Did we follow up on the with them about the adapters, and it was just that they were surprised that there was adapters right in the other library,
yes,
right? Because they did check it after.
Yep.
When you cleaned it up.
Yep.
And they were just surprised.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he says that he's certain that it wasn't the same, that they didn't accidentally run the first bad sample because they.
It might be related to the fact I showed you there was a different, whether it's an adapter or whether it's some kind of artifact of the process, because they would still be potentially long fragments, right? They wouldn't be just the primer, but some of it should have been there. But okay, I might look at those today and just try to get an assessment, because I mean we won't know until we do it, but we could be in the same boat with Emma's as we were with LSU samples.
Potentially, yes.
Because they both look good. They both, in theory, are good, but the sequence bad.
Yes. However, with Emma's samples, neither of them shows any adapter contamination whatsoever. As opposed to the LSU samples,
it was a small portion.
Yeah, a small portion showed adapter contamination, but it was low enough that the guy who runs the samples felt that it shouldn't pose any issues.
Okay.
Otherwise, he would have, at least according to him, he said he would have sent us an email and said, hey, there's still too high a level of adapter present in the sample. I don't think you should run it.
Okay. We'll find out.
Yeah.
What's the turnaround on those?
I mean, unfortunately, it depends upon the queue.
Okay.
So, but they've been relatively quick, maybe a month.
Okay.
So.
All right. Sounds good. All right. How about you, Jack? What you got going on?
So yesterday I ran that DNA and did the extract.
Yep.
The spooling method, I didn't really see anything.
Okay.
I followed the directions to mix it, and it says you're supposed to see a cloudy precipitate that's the DNA. in one sample, when I added the ethanol, I saw the cloudy precipitate, but then when I mixed it, it just vanished. And then the other 3 samples, when I added it, it never appeared.
Okay.
So I split it into 2 directions. One was spooled and one was just centrifuged.
Okay.
When I ran the centrifuge, I ran them together on the gel. The spooled stuff had nothing in it. But the centrifuge stuff, actually, up in the wells, had a really bright fluorescence that I think was the high molecular weight, if you want to look that up on the blog.
Okay.
It looks the same. I mean, they were the exact same samples that I ran last time because we still had plenty of tissue. And the pattern is the same, but now there appears to be some high molecular weight in the well. The only thing that I think may have caused a difference was last time I let the gels sit in a solution of ethidium bromide and soak up the ethidium bromide. And this time I actually added it to the gel itself. But you can see up in the wells, there's a much brighter fluorescence coming from them. And then at the bottom, there's actually a closer picture of that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Sam? You think that's seems it should come out of the well.
Yeah, I mean, that's not that uncommon to see stuff
up there.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a ton of sample loaded in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that is.
I mean, this is to me indicative of the higher stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
But there's some degradation. So it looks similar to this, right? Okay. So what was this for again? These are for RAD libraries?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, we still have to try. We don't want to. Foremost, we don't want to lose your samples, if it means going getting other oysters. But based on your conversations with the seed lab and everything, degraded is a problem.
Yeah.
So we need to try something.
If you want me to, I can run over and talk to Karita and show her these gels and say, ask her if these look better, because they have a good idea of what the gel should look like for RAD libraries. And if it's a better gel, she might be able to say, yeah, you could probably get some information.
Yeah, but I don't think this looks any different than the first set of plates you ran, right?
Not so much. I mean, you have to pull up the gel. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, you could ask her. Tell her if this is good or bad. I get a little embarrassed to ask her, but yeah. But then try something.
I think maybe it might be worth trying. I'll snag some spin columns, some reactions from like a stool kit from the Friedman lab. Maybe we can try that. Because I'm wondering if this kind of whole body thing, if there's just a bunch of proteases or something in the digestive gland that ends up.
These aren't from whole body. These are just from mantle tissue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, these are mantle and maybe a little bit of
So there's two things going on here. Either they're degraded right now, sitting in the freezer, and you're doing everything properly, and we've got degraded DNA, or they're degrading once you take them out of the freezer.
Right, and for these 2 times, when I pulled them out of the freezer, I let them thaw and then immediately put them on ice. So
yeah, I don't think they're. I find it hard to believe either one of those is true, though.
Yeah.
Right, because you're saying these are. I mean, the thing to do is go get a fresh oyster. Yeah. That would be the thing to do. Yeah. And I'm sure you can go across the way there in the basement in the education place and find one. What do you call that room? I don't know. Aquarium room, yeah. And see if you can get some, but that way you know.
Yeah, if they're having all these. The other thing is next week I'll be at Manchester, and if we can't get in here right now, I can just snag some from Ryan.
I think I find it hard. I mean, I did these and could spool easily. I don't know how much you're using tissue weight.
I don't know how much weight it was, but it was very small pieces.
Definitely weigh them, because this whole procedure is based on weight of tissue DNAs also. I think you definitely, for that purposes, you'd even go a little overboard. It's not going to hurt, because you're going to see you centrifuge out the crap anyway. Mm-hmm. Though again, what I just said has nothing to do with this. It won't fix that. I mean, that's evidence of degraded DNA, right?
Right.
I mean, Brent has this one hypothesis that it's lipopolysaccharides, but I don't really necessarily. That was just a guess.
Yeah, and the DNA is all step. The first centrifuge step is supposed to get rid of the lipopolysaccharides.
And you mean you're in a solution, and then you're precipitating out the DNA. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean, if you want to ping Creed and ask her if this is good DNA, that's fine. But it's definitely not. I mean, it's definitely not.
It's not as high quality as
So I think the first step is maybe just remove the variable of the tissue possibly being degraded and get a live oyster,
okay.
or another, or something else. Megan never really ran a gel, did she?
From her samples, no.
No. But she was also dealing with filter stuff too, so it wasn't actually real tissue. All right. And then you're waiting on me to look at the paper, right?
Yeah, and then the other thing is I'm going to be doing the bioinformatics stuff this week. Plus, I'm doing my finishing up portion for proposal writing, so we're reviewing papers and stuff. Yeah. So that's my plan for the week.
And remember, don't overdo the bioinformatics. Just focus in on those three first things and describing those files, and don't overdo it. We'll talk about more of that today. Are you comfortable? It might be. I haven't looked at it yet, but do you think it's worth going ahead and sending? But I know Brady wanted to see it, and we wanted Brady to see it regarding some certain things that we did not feel comfortable citing.
Yeah.
Do you think it's in a state for that, or?
I'd rather have you guys look it over just to make sure. I mean, I did as much as I possibly could, but I gave a blind eye to it.
But you've definitely somehow marked a sentence that needs attention, or at least know in your head.
No, I haven't. I can go through
where that sentence is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to go through and mark like the citations for the things that Brady might want to look at.
Right. Well, you don't want to have to look at them because either you should be comfortable with them. However, there was that one that you couldn't find the paper.
Right.
And that's the one that you need him to.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Was marking the citation that Brady. So Brady made it in a comment and said, "This is who said this," and then I just cited that, but I couldn't find the actual paper.
And so I make a comment, Brady. I could not get a hold of this. Can you please confirm that this sentence is accurate? So I'm trying to get to that. All right. So how's your stuff going, Grace? Done? Female stage?
Mm-hmm.
Can we look at pictures?
They're not on anything because I forgot how
to do it.
But I looked through all my pictures that I have, and so I have 3 or 4 representative pictures of all the female students, like in one event, so I don't have to upload like 5,000 pictures.
Okay. How many female stages are there? What did you say?
Well, I think there's I organized it in like 5 or 6.
5 different stages? Okay. And so you've assigned each female a stage 1 through 5?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
1 through 6, maybe. It's 6. I have it in my notebook.
Okay. And so you're ready to tell us what individuals are ready for sequencing based on that, right? So you're going to put that up in your notebook or whatever, or a sheet,
Yes.
and then maybe some representative pictures. I think the idea would be to have that spreadsheet you're working on. And then how easy is it to then, how do you plan on organizing the pictures?
I'm not sure because I don't know how to make sure that they're labeled, because right now they're just labeled in iPhoto and it's only under the information little button thing that you have to click. I don't know. I feel like.
What are you around again?
Tomorrow.
Afternoon?
I think I have an eye appointment at like 2:30, so I can come in at like 3:30.
Okay.
I have a question. Whose scale are you using for judging stage?
Well, there was a paper that I can't remember what paper it was. I have it in my computer, and then also just kind of based off of oocyte size and like
So you measured those?
I was going to say, if you want, I have a paper that kind of describes staging for like multiple shellfish species. If you want to look at that, I just didn't know if you had a paper referencing it.
Maybe once you get on your notebook too, Jake and anybody can look at your notebook. We can just feel it.
Yes.
I guess in the short term, yeah, just I don't know. I can't remember. It feels like I got to do something Wednesday.
Okay.
But I think what we'll eventually want to do before we make the call is each one is staged. We'd like to be able to click and see pictures from that individual.
Like within a spreadsheet?
Doesn't have to be that. It's just a way to do it. And it doesn't have to be all of them. Just the reason, just so I stage this stage 3, and we can go look at the picture and yep, that looks like stage 3 or something like that. It could just be a representative picture from each one that you could link in the spreadsheet if you wanted to. That gets a little tricky. I think eventually you want to have it in Scaphopoda directory. And you could just create. I mean, there's how many females?
37.
You could just create 37 directories or 37 subfolders.
Okay.
We'll label that, and then pictures in there. Though that gets a little tricky too. Well, what I'm worried about is because your pictures are literally labeled now. They're random labels.
Well, I relabeled them.
Okay. So based on the individual.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's the case, then maybe just create a directory, subdirectories, and that way, if you want to put multiple pictures in there, it's fine. It's easy to identify.
Okay.
So what we'd like to do is possibly as early as the end of this week, or definitely next week. It sounds like we'd like to make a decision, and then we could actually go ahead and make this. Yeah, definitely this week probably, and then start the RNA extraction process because it would be a little bit different because it's going to be from these histology blocks, right?
Yeah. I mean, there also are frozen samples of tissue and hemolymph.
Oh, from these 37 females too. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So maybe we just go straight to the tissue. And then if we wanted to, we would just make RNA and then we send that, we would check it on the bioanalyzer. And then we would be okay to send that RNA to somebody for libraries. Who would be able to send it to? GeneWiz or?
Yeah, potentially GeneWiz. They actually have a 15% off deal going on, so I have to look into that. I don't think I got pricing from BGI for RNA-seq.
What do you have? Do you have a meeting set up with him or her?
Yeah, he has to get back to me on whether or not he can do Thursday or Friday. He's leaning towards Friday at this point, but he hasn't solidified his schedule yet.
Okay.
So actually, BGI is $250 per library and $100 per gigabase of data for RNA-seq. So potentially BGI. Potentially might be cheaper.
Okay. But back to this, is if you've got these pictures already labeled in iPhoto,
Yes.
you label by what animal they are. You could go ahead and try that, do what we did before, is just export them all to a directory in there. If you want to create a new subdirectory in your folder, that's fine.
Okay.
And then way we could just find them.
Okay.
Because if you tell me you label this, F01, if you tell us how you're labeling them, which should be easy to do in a little text file or whatever in your notebook, then we could search that entire directory and find it. So maybe in the short term, just that's the least amount of work if you've already labeled them. It's just go ahead and export all of those relevant directories to a directory in Scaphopoda and then link that in your notebook too. And then we should be good. And so what that means is by Friday or before, you'll be here for a Friday, we should be able to confirm which individuals we want to make libraries from.
Okay.
And then you're moving moving on to males.
I'm still not really sure how to do that.
Okay. So you still don't have at one point you were saying it was like the relative amount of spermatozoa, right?
Yeah.
In the slide.
I just don't know how to measure that. I know we were talking about image J.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to
Yeah,
use it.
I played with it some, and you have to get it binary where it's white and black, and then it would do it. But the amount of time I think it'll take to finagle with all the pictures, you could just count or measure. You have it, but you showed me last Friday what you felt was pretty good staging, right, of males?
Yeah, like, I mean, definitely like the most mature versus the least mature.
Right.
It's all the stuff in between. But I mean, I don't know if it's like good science to just sort of look at the slides and then organize them based on what they look like rather than actually having numbers to put to them, like in terms of measurements.
I'm fine with, at this point, I'm fine with just how they look. Just call it.
Okay.
You know, and you're definitely with that. Then maybe spend more of your time dropping those into directories or something that we can look at them. We'll label them by your, so like go ahead and label them if you haven't by the individuals, and then put them early, mid, late, or something like that. You don't have to get super crazy.
Okay.
Based on what you feel, what your feeling is. We can call it the grayscale.
Yeah. At least in my experience from looking at males, it's really hard to give any stages. Like most of the time when we were doing it, was just developed, undeveloped, and then no gonad at all. So it's not surprising.
I think you're always going to have gonad, I think, because we waited too late, right? So
yeah.
It's almost just be two, then from what he's saying, right? Earlier, mature, right?
Yeah. And it's basically the only thing. The way we were doing it was can you tell if there is a tail on the sperm or not? If you can, then it's pretty much developed, and if
but
it's
you said
not,
you could really, and it could just be our microscope. You could see you could really never see that.
Yeah, they all just were like that.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they look like.
Even the very, very early, wouldn't the like spermatozoa just be circles?
Yeah, but in every single slide, I could find at least one follicle that had a few spermatids.
So one of the things you might see that at least we were able to tell tells. So individual sperm are really hard to see, and they usually look like that with nothing. Like
a circle?
A circle or an oval. It's just kind of however shaped they are. But when you have a lot of them, especially in the later developed animals, you may see like them stacked on top of each other, and you'll see all the tails kind of making a swirl pattern. And that's how we knew that they were tails, especially in lower magnifications.
Would they be pink or purple?
They'll still be purple. In fact, they'll still be that like almost dark blue, purplish color. They're, like I said, it's pretty difficult to tell. If you can find a dark field scope, sometimes you can get a little bit better resolution on them there. But again, you just have to get a better scope than like the student scope that you're working with.
Yeah, but I think for the sequencing purposes, I think we might be fine. It'd be fine to be a little bit not perfect in staging, because I think we'll do it again next season with a little bit more, making sure we get totally undeveloped too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I've also seen it done with other invertebrates. Just developing an index that's not necessarily based on quantitative data. It's fairly common. Yeah.
And then you're leaving in 2 weeks?
March 26th.
Okay.
Then I'll be back for 5 weeks, and then Friday Harbor Labs for 5 weeks, and I'll be back for the rest.
What are you taking at Friday Harbor?
The mammal one, B term. So I've never done anything like that before. So.
Okay, but it sounds like we're on track. I mean, maybe probably next week or the next week, probably you'll have an idea of the males, and it might be quite simple.
Yeah.
Just randomly pick a few from each stage and just sequence it. We just want to get some stuff sequenced so we can move on. Yeah, so maybe we wait to just do males and females together. I don't know if that affects. I guess it doesn't really matter too much. Maybe for pricing,
as
maybe for
pricing, if we
paperwork.
have more, yeah, I mean, I feel like you get a little bit of a discount the more samples you're able to provide during a single project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe like 10. So the cost is going to be, they're going to make the library. So so somehow magically we lose the ability to barcode when we move to RNet, which still blows my mind. So it's going to be $400 a library.
250
Okay,
if we do BGI.
But there's no such thing as barcoding. Yeah. Well, I mean barcoding, yes, for sequencing, but we can't get down to the $45 that we can or $10 for DNA libraries.
I don't know if we've ever.
Yeah, I think we used to look for that, but we just couldn't find a protocol. All right, it doesn't matter. We don't have time to deal with that. But just 250.
Yeah.
250. Okay, that's not bad.
Just curious why you are choosing to outsource the library prep.
Cost.
So $250 is pretty good compared to what you
Yes.
could do in-house.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. I mean, if we decided to turn our entire operations over to perfecting that process, we could eventually reach that and do a better price point, but we have other issues that are better uses of time, because we have experts in doing. Let them do that kind of stuff. We still have to be able to extract DNA. Speaking of DNA, Jay.
Speaking
how was
of,
your
yeah,
DNA?
it's good segue.
Did you extract your DNA?
Well, there was only one sample out of the 4 that I did maybe 2 where, you could really see the DNA's, kind of aggregating and spooling it.
Sure.
So there wasn't a lot. And I tried to spool it onto the edge of the
Later.
on the edge of the tube.
Yeah.
Then I just couldn't see it, and so I just decided to spin it down.
Sure.
Spin it, spun all the samples
Okay.
down. Couldn't see any kind of pellet.
Yep.
So not really sure what was there, if anything. But so I did that, and then I stopped because I couldn't find any sodium hydroxide, so I didn't solubilize the DNA where there was any NaOH.
Okay. Yeah, I just use water. I think Sam probably uses TE. I don't know what you've been using, Jay.
Water, just nano pure water.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just following the protocol.
Yeah, I know.
Called for
The DNA cell protocol.
Yeah.
It does mention you can use water in it.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay. Missed it.
So it's dry now somewhere, or somewhere is it?
No, it's in ethanol.
It's in ethanol.
Yeah.
It's in ethanol.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I would suggest just taking the ethanol off carefully, pretending there's DNA there.
Mhm.
Jam it up.
Spin it down first with that.
Yeah, I think it's good just in case. And then bring it up with after you get all the alcohol off, and make sure all the alcohol's gone. Let it maybe sit under the hood or on that thing. Bring it up with some water.
And the protocol talks about if you let the DNA dry too much, it's harder to solubilize.
Sure. Don't dry it too much, but dry it just enough.
Okay.
All
right. What I should say though, what I opted to do on Sunday, because I wasn't totally happy with
Sure.
the experiment, so I redid it, Shannon
Cool.
Point, with individuals I took right out of the C table room that were looking healthy, and I put them. I did basically the same thing, but just
Sure.
with animals that came right from the C table.
Mhm.
And I took more tissue because like the quantity of DNA I wasn't really happy with.
Mhm.
Although I'm sure it's probably fine, but I just wanted to be able to see a little bit more. So I just clipped more tentacles.
More is always better. Yeah, more is always better.
And I think you had said just one tentacle is fine, but I think the thing with the cnidarian tissues, there's a lot of mesoglial in there, which is collagen matrix cells.
Yeah.
So there's actually not a lot of
DNA.
cells in the tentacle.
Right.
And they're also very hard to homogenize because of that mesoglia.
Mm-hmm.
So I just decided to get more material.
Sure.
So those are the 2 reasons I redid it. So now I brought those samples in yesterday. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll just. Do you think I should still deal with the ones that I originally?
Well, you did all that work. I mean, maybe now you might just wait until you bring those other ones up and ready to spec them or whatever before you bring your old ones up. Just leave them in alcohol until then.
Okay.
And just wait until you bring those other set of samples up to that. So,
Yeah, and the other thing that I like better about this new experiment is that the animals are covered in the sea tables.
yeah.
Which I know isn't like that important. I mean, we'll probably still see an effect with the ones that died. But, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe they died during it, so their biology just shut off. But.
All right. And how's the still thinking about the methods on the paper?
On the bioinformatics paper?
Well, there's also that, but then the real paper, the molecular ecology paper, this is the same thing as that. We're just starting to work on that too. But that's all generally going fine, the bioinformatics?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Still need to, I've got all the transcriptomes annotated, so just need to do the CPG analysis and pretty much there.
I think for class, I think we said this last week, probably just focus on one for the class, whatever. I mean, do one right, at least do one right.
Yeah, well, I've already done that, really. I think what we said, though, is that I would just do the transcriptomes,
Yeah, definitely.
not deal with the
right,
differentially expressed genes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of my goal.
Okay. Sorry. All right, so let's see. Anything else we got? We need to hit on. Sam, it seems like there's an update every week, right? I mean, is that true? Just about
Maybe 2 weeks.
every 2 weeks.
Yeah. I don't know.
I guess it's good, right? It's a good thing. All right, when you start thinking about 310, so Ryan's going to help us, Jake. I don't know if you knew that. Ryan Waples.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's going to be the other TA.
Interesting.
So when does class start?
It's like I want to say it's like the very last day of March.
Yep.
So, we've got not a lot of time, but we've got a little bit to get things sorted.
All right, so maybe, yeah, so we should probably, so I'm going the week of the 22nd, which is the week before that, if not that week, 26, 27, 28. So it starts on a Monday?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I'll be back that Friday
Okay,
before.
the
So-
Thursday and Friday, I'm going to be gone.
So maybe the week before we should meet.
Yeah.
We should plan on meeting. We shouldn't have to do much,
No.
but just at least get the calendar in order, decide what the labs are, make check and see field trips, that kind of stuff. What they anyway. So yeah, I'll try.
Yeah, I think I put a couple of comments on just things that I was hoping to see.
Yeah.
Just like the day we want to meet up, and then kind of what our work plan is before the quarter starts.
Yeah. Schedule something. Like I said, I guess that's not next week, is it? Is it next week or the week after next? Probably would be that week.
Yeah.
Try to get something down. Hopefully, it won't be tomorrow. We're not going to do much because this is the last time I'll teach it, so we're not changing anything.
Okay.
Are they getting rid of it, or
No, I'm teaching something else. So they're going to have Greg Jensen will be teaching this class.
Oh, okay.
After we're done, after this quarter. All right, it's just one more thing. If we ever have if anybody has any outreach ideas, I don't know why I was thinking about this, either electronically or real, just feel free to chime in.
One thing I was kind of thinking about was just in Oyster Fest. It happens in like August or September. Just possibly going out and showing off some of maybe our research or working with.
What is Oyster Fest?
It's just a seafood festival down in Shelton where they have like an educational tent, and they like a bunch of different growers and a bunch of different organizations to go out and give short little talks and stuff. So that's kind of an informational one. You could also do the Gooey Duck Fest. Brent knows more about that one than I do.
But so they all have some kind of educational component?
And then the other thing is I know that the aquarium, the Seattle Aquarium, is always cool for having speakers. You just got to talk to them when they want them. and we could go out and
Yeah.
do impromptu talks, or we could go do one of their educational days.
There's also just kind of the least effort one idea too, kind of like what I'm probably going to try to get back on this. I don't know how effective it is, but like getting our notebook posts on Facebook or something like that. So nobody has to do anything more, just kind of connecting services like that. That can't hurt, but if anything else like that.
Are we using our Tumblr feed at all for anything?
Not really.
I was thinking we could start just kind of posting neat photos. We don't necessarily have to be extremely science oriented, but just something neat there that we could have shoot from Tumblr to Facebook. And then it's not necessarily going to be great outreach for what we're doing specifically, but it'll keep people interested.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to personally do. I just posted a picture yesterday, went to Facebook.
Oh,
Yeah, remember that one yesterday, the tubes? What were you thinking about?
oh yeah, those tubes. No, I was
Yeah.
gonna admit I feel bad, but I stopped following the Tumblr feed a while ago.
Well, yeah, there's basically, it's crazy, but it's separate now. I'm using it to post the everybody's GitHub issues, and it's the only interesting thing is I've got oyster papers going to it. So sometimes I find new oyster papers by looking at our Tumblr, but my goal is to like get that on Twitter or something, because there's some pretty neat papers that I get through that feed. But anyway, yeah, so I don't know if I asked this, but do you think it'd be more effective on Tumblr or Facebook? See, I always feeling that nobody's.
I just like
Facebook.
using, well, my thing is I just like using IFFT to shoot it from one to another. And I
Sure,
figure Tumblr is such an easy service, or we could do Flickr or any kind
Or
of
you could
photo
just-
service.
Yeah, but you could go right to Facebook.
Right. I guess in my thoughts, I don't have access to the Roberts Lab page, so I just figure if there was some other
Okay.
page that I could just shoot it to, and then it would just automatically
Okay. Well,
update
you
to the
could
Roberts
also
Lab
get, I
page.
think, I don't know if it's in this that if you can have multiple people have access to the same Facebook. But yeah, Tumblr's fine. I would use Tumblr even if nobody looks at it. It's easy. So if anybody wants to start doing that, just pictures to Tumblr, random pictures. I think the key with there is just decide on a tag, and then I can use if then this that to take that and then port it to the Facebook page. Right.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great way to do.
That's a
Like,
good idea. But you can also have access, definitely from your phone. You could have direct access. Maybe not to if then it's that to the Roberts Lab Facebook page. So I might need to figure out how to go into the admin account.
Yeah.
The admin, because I don't know how to do that. That's the only way I can access it is I know I can go through it's in this that. No, that's not true. I think if I go to the webpage, I can see it. But we've been posting a picture of Jonathan for about 3 months now.
yeah,
From the webcam?
So the webcam, nobody said anything. I think we just lost all of our followers. But anything else like that, particularly leveraging stuff we're already doing, like our notebooks or pictures, it's easy enough to take a picture or whatever. Easy enough to do. All right. Okay. So this was just an email that I got from eScience. If y'all didn't get, so they're wanting to see if there's interest in a regular Tableau user group.
I'm not sure I know what Tableau is.
Yeah, I actually looked it up on the web last night, but I still don't totally understand.
Yeah, it looks cool. We've had it, and they found that I think it's worth at least us figuring out in case it's useful. It's making nice pictures.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a data visualization tool,
They're private.
but it makes it like real nice,
Real
pretty
fancy.
pictures.
So is it kind of
I
like,
think potentially like interactive,
Oh.
web-based images, stuff like that, where
Cool.
you can click onto a category and it'll zoom into smaller sets of categories that make up the larger category.
Is that like the presentation that Emma gave?
No, not Prezi. It's
Oh, okay.
It's actually, it's like based on the data. Prezi is just kind of a fancy like
PowerPoint.
movie PowerPoint
Yeah.
thing, yeah. Whereas this is actually like allowing you to interact with the
Yeah,
data.
it's a software, it's quasi-table, but much more, different ways to look at school, play with it. But it's software. But for years, they never had a Mac version, so I never looked at it, and by that time I figured out other ways to visualize. But anyway, UW is thinking about scaling up their I guess education for it or something. I guess there seems to be some kind of tight partnership with UW. And so Bill Howe, I sent out an email yesterday just seeing what they're trying to get his interest in. Yeah, so I don't know if you all saw Google Plus, but if anybody has any, can offer me any advice on how to do that statistical test where I've got, I think it's just a giant, whatever, chi-square test, but we've got Claire's data where it's an array, so we've got all these probes all over the genome, and a subset of those are significantly differentially expressed. And so, for example, I want to know if the ones that are if they're in genes, there's 20% of the significantly expressed probes are in genes, and then the whole genome there's about 25%. Well, how do I determine if that's statistically different or not? So to me, it's an observed versus expected. I don't know how to go about testing that statistically. Does that make sense?
Well, I saw your data. Yeah, I didn't know really what the probes part of it was.
The probes meant that you have to account for where it could possibly be significantly different. So you couldn't just say the whole genome because it could only be where the probes are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I counted as my background, like every probe in the entire array, and where they lie. And then those other ones where are significantly different. Yeah, they were kind of matched, generally speaking, but there were differences. And so I need to know if those differences in percentage or proportion are significant in order to further pursue that.
And so is it like a random sample, the probes?
Well, the probes were selected to primarily be genes.
Okay.
But, there's 760,000, 600,000, it's a lot. And so some of those things don't overlap. But anyway, I think Brent had some advice for Claire.
I've never done a chi-square test, but
And the only ones I've done are Kruskal-Wallis.
But what does that do?
It's just a non-normal parametric test that allows you to find significant differences.
yeah, it's just a non-parametric equivalent of an
Oh, yeah,
test.
okay,
Yeah.
So this is somehow seeing if what you observe is different than what you would expect by random, like if you were just to randomly subsample all those probes, would you get the same distribution as opposed to the one I find that are significantly different. So anyway, I got enough to do until I figure that out. Oh.
I say there's a GitHub for music.
Okay. I think we're going with the no. I investigated the Flickr. It seems like there's no reason to renew. It seems like we get all the benefits. I don't know why they would pay now because you're not paying for anything. Got the
Did you get your Linux installed?
No, I haven't done that. That's still out there. Speaking of Linux, did you have any luck with your Linux issue? Getting the Python client, the SQL Share Python client?
Well, I was going to deal with it, but then I balked on it because I just wanted to get work done, and I didn't want to delete Anaconda and then have to spend the whole day trying to reinstall it. So I got cold feet and I didn't try it.
Yeah. That reminds me of IPython 3's out. It's not too much. I thought it was going to be much different. Because the thing is, you have all these other kernels you can select from, like Bash and Python and all this other stuff. Which I thought might be interesting because I mainly do Bash. But when I do it, I don't see anything. It just says Python. And so besides that, the only difference I found is that you can't select. They've got rid of the heading 1, heading 2, heading 3 in the drop-down menu because you can just use Markdown and put a number sign, 2 number signs, and 3 number signs. But I haven't noticed anything else new, but it was on Anaconda yesterday, and all right. I think everything else is still pending. So, anything else forgot?
Just curious for you guys that use the open network science, was it?
Yep.
Open network science. Do you find that very slow?
Yes.
It's really kind of slow.
What's slow? What is
ONS network.
But what part of it? Like posting, reading?
Just loading a page.
Loading.
Just working within the site and
So like
navigating within the site.
Yeah, I've never noticed that.
I mean,
But I don't know how much I
I
do.
agree. I mean, I agree. It's slow. But I guess once I get to the post, like add new post, I can do everything I want. When I hit publish, then yeah, like when you're pressing on buttons, I agree that it's slow.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Just when you're in your dashboard and going to all the different items and visiting your main site, I mean, it just seems kind of slow to me.
I agree.
Okay. But have y'all used WordPress before?
No.
I have.
All right, that's it's weird. I haven't
I think
noticed
it's
it.
slower
Okay.
than. But I guess it's one of those things like I don't feel like I have to navigate within the dashboard that often. So it's like I click add new post, wait for it to load, and then do all my typing.
Well, this is my thing is I'm not logged in and I don't know my password. But mine's pretty neat because if I'm logged in, I don't even have to go to the dashboard. I think I showed you this one time.
Yeah.
It's actually I can just write right into this front page. But yeah, I'll pay attention. But I normally, if even I go to the dashboard, I'm just putting in text, and then I'm previewing it, and then I'm hitting post. But I'll see if I can notice anything.
Yeah, I think it's more like you go into the dashboard and you pick some option like
Yeah.
add new post.
Yeah.
It just takes more time to load that section to allow you to add a new post, and then when you click publish, it takes a few seconds for it to connect to the servers and whatnot, and then the page to change over to indicate that it's been published.
Okay.
Yeah. Or editing an existing post.
Okay. Speaking of which, I've been pretty proud of some of my stuff since y'all asked. This is pretty neat. I've been doing like a double grep with a cut and a sword and a unique. Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
I'm carried away there.
Dang. Any for loops?
No, none of these have required for loops, but so I'm just editing these genome tracks. But basically, I can't remember which one that was. That gives you a good example. So I wanted another column here that was just a CGI number, so I could join on the CGI number, which is oysters. So there it is without the CGI. And so I printed out that one column, and then I took that one column, and then I cut it, and then I got rid of the set it the IC. I replaced the ID equals to the C. The reverse got rid of the colon. Then I wrote it out, and that gave me that. And then I just pasted it to the side of it, and then that was done. I guess I could have combined those into a single thing. And then the other thing was I was checking. So then I'm taking the oyster. These are the Go and Gene ontologies, but I wanted to create a track that was just these three Go Slims and these three Go Slims. And then to QC it, I just double checked, cut the column, and made sure I didn't have anything weird in those columns. It was just those three things. Because technically, I pulled out signal transduction activity from molecular function. So I got rid of that and then checked it. So.
Jeez.
Hey, could you
Yeah,
scroll
that's
up for a
pretty
sec, Steve? Saw something. So you in number 35 there,
Yeah.
SQLS equals,
Yeah, so I just I should do this. I don't have them in my path.
yeah.
So.
Should I try something like that for my issue?
No, I don't think so.
If I tell it to point exactly where I want that tool?
Yeah, but you've only got that tool in one place, so I don't think that's your issue. But you could try that, yeah. But I could have just as easily written that here. This is just a remnant of the way I used to make notebooks, where I can make it, if I was working on multiple computers and I wanted to just change that one variable because it's located on different computers. But, but you could try that. But like I said, I think you've only got one set of, well, you might not, but you could all put that all in one